Good day. Welcome to Ebimo Amungo's perspective on global affairs. If you're if you're coming onto the live stream now, I urge you to please press the like button. And this is my first live stream. I've always been wanting to do it, but as you know, when you get to be a content creator, you get to learn a lot of things. And the live stream is where I want to put my brand that I've always trying to promote, the X review. That will give me an ability to be able to talk with people, to be able to interact. And it is for that reason why I'm doing this live stream for now. So I hope that I want to welcome you to my first live stream on the X review of Ebima Amungo's perspective on global affairs. I hope we will accomplish things together. Anyway, let me start. As you all know, I take a deep dive into the X review, and with those X review, I use it to talk about geopolitical news that find their way into my news feed. So on X, and let me start today with I will start with this story that I have here. Of course, it's the Russian-Ukraine war. What does it say here now? It says Russian Pantsir 1 launcher tries to and fails to shoot down a Ukrainian drone, presumably FP 12, or half before it strikes the system. It seems like in recent times now, what has been happening? It seems like in recent times, something interesting has been happening, and that's the fact that somehow the Ukrainian drones have become more lethal. They are more successful in their. Ukraine is getting a lot of successes from its drone. Of course, we should know that the whole program for the Ukrainians is a whole. It's a national one. It's an international one. But that's not to take away from the fact that the Ukrainians are iterating. They are getting much better every day, and in this particular case here now, this Panzer system has been one of the mainstay of the Russians. It has really helped them in staving off a lot of Ukrainian drones, especially within Russia itself. They put this, I think this is the system that is on the Kerch Bridge. They've put it all over. I think it's small, it's light. It's one of their cheaper models. So they use it all across the cities and mainly within the border areas of Bryansk, Belgorod, all those oblasts that are closer to the Ukrainian border, and that's where they use a lot of these particular weapon systems. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. It's an ongoing thing back and forth between the Russians and the Ukrainians. What does this say? It says training of Iran's female ninja police unit. Interesting. Well, it so turns out I didn't even know that the Iranians had female police unit, but now we get to learn a lot. Iran is in the news now, and their police and law enforcement was really challenged in the last riots and demonstrations that happened. A lot of the killings were of police people. Policemen and policewomen were killed very extensively because as the Iranians put it, they said those people who infiltrated the demonstrations, the peaceful demonstrations were rioters. They were sent by the Mossad, and there was a lot of beheading and killings and burning of police officers in Iran. Well, this is a revelation. I really didn't know that the Iranians had a female police unit. This is one story that has really blown up the internet. And what story is that? The story has to do with the fact that a team from all-female team from India and another one also, is this an American one? Because the one I knew was the one from India and China. This obviously seems to be an American, and this. What does it say? It says China's all-female police squad humbled U.S. all-male team at UAE SWAT. The Chinese women finished 16 seconds ahead of their American counterparts, despite hauling 120 kilograms tire. Well, the one that went viral at first was not about the Americans. This one will be very humbling for the Americans. It's very interesting that it is RT that is putting out this information. But as we have learned, if you've been watching survivor shows that emphasize on survivors, I think you will get to learn that what you really used to happen is that many of the times coordination and teamwork is always much more better than individual abilities. And this is what these women have done. This is not the first time. The first team they really humbled was the Indian male team. So seeing them humble the American team now is something quite surprising. And this is what we see about China: coordination, their ability to do things as a team, as a people. We keep seeing this now, but we get to see, I think next time the Americans will take this very seriously. Let's look at it again one last time. Well, the one that went viral, I should say, was actually about India. Let's move on to the next one now. China again.
只不看不知道，一看吓一跳，两边的刮刀精准地把绵羊的毛发完整丝滑地刨了下来，在当地薅羊毛已经用机器完美代替了，剃毛的过程看了让人非常解压。
This is what we keep hearing about China. This is sheep shearing machine. And this sheep shearing machine. And China, as we know, are the ones who have applied AI and artificial intelligence into common days. They have been able to integrate AI into so many applications, and this obviously is one of them. A sharing machine like this will have to do a lot of machine learning, I guess. They have a lot of implementation of AI in this particular machine. But it is very common. China is very much ahead in the use of AI in many of its things that it produces, many of the things it manufactures. This definitely means that some people are going to lose their job. And look at how very clean and trim the machine is. Sometimes we don't even know if these things are just from Douyin or from TikTok, but obviously China pulls. But it is what is making China very innovative and how they are applying their newfound scientific prowess. Iran's Shaher Sukter uncovering 6,000 years of Bronze Age civilization. Interesting.
Unveils life as it was thousands of years ago.
No words can fully capture the mystery and sophistication of this ancient city, but I've tried to share a glimpse of it, where one could spend days or even months exploring its remains.
Spanning 1,800 years and overlapping with Mesopotamia and Egypt, Shahr Sukhteh reveals a mysterious world of art and everyday life, while its strategic location made it a key economic and cultural center.
Well, we should all know that Iran is Persia. That is an empire we read about even in the Bible. Even in history, it is very much known about the Persian Xerxes and all the kings of Persia. And they are very much a part of history. And it's this civilization, this civilizational endowment that makes Iran one of the very hard countries to defeat. They iterate, they reinvent themselves. And in this modern age, they've also reinvented themselves. They have a very rich history. And they lean very heavily on that history. They've been in every single part of human growth and civilizational development. And this is what Iran keeps telling all their challengers, that they lean very heavily on their history and they know who they are. It's a country very conscious of its place in history. And this is one of the reasons why Many civilizations find it very hard. Many civilizations have come and gone, and the Iranians are still there. Hollywood gatekeeping is dying. Very soon, blockbuster level movies will come from tiny teams of obsessed hobby directors armed with AI, taste, and zero permissions. Big budget won't matter. Gatekeepers won't matter. Let me see. 8 watching now. Please, if you're new to this channel and you're watching, it will help the stream grow if you press the like button. I am learning live streaming, so we will get better together. Hollywood gatekeeping. Yes, there is a new app, a Chinese app that is called Sundance, I think. They are producing AI movies at a level that is beyond belief. And even Elon Musk also is promoting his too. His is called Grok Imagine. As we all know, what used to give Hollywood advantage used to be what they call CGI, so computer-generated images. And now we're seeing that even on the phones, we are seeing these things now coming on live. The new app by the makers of Tencent, it's a very powerful app. I watched one where, I think there's one where Brad Pitt was having a fight with one of the Hollywood movie stars, but I saw the one that Ye was having a fight with his former wife, Kim Kardashian. It was such a big problem. It's so live, it's so realistic that it's beyond belief. AI has really moved into this world, and it's really is going to be a problem for Hollywood. People are creating movies. It's just amazing seeing the kind of things that some people are applying with AI. We are going to keep watching. AI is going to play a big role in our lives as we go forward. Well, let's go to the next one now. I should also point out that China and America are the 2 domains of AI. So the multipolar world has moved into the AI space. And that's why Tencent is also a major player. We know Sora from ChatGPT, and we know Grok Imagine. Back again to missiles. Experts warn that in any potential operation against Iran, the risk for US forces will be significantly higher, citing Iran's powerful, extensive missile arsenal. Yes, this is Iran. This is what Iran has, and this is what Iran has invested in for the past 40 years as their own deterrent. Iran knows that they can't outmatch the military and the military might, the maritime might of America. And they've always felt that America was their biggest enemy, and they invested heavily in ballistic missiles. These ballistic missiles, we got to appreciate their full strength and power during the 12-day war. The Iranians had actually warned the Israelis when they made a revenge, they made a retaliation for the killing of Hanai in I think in Tehran during the inauguration of their president. But I think the world didn't really take them serious until they unleashed that barrage, an extensive barrage against the Iranians during the 12-day war. And now we get to see. And removing Iran's ballistic missile prowess is one of the main topics now that they want to negotiate in the oncoming negotiations with America. Bitcoin, Saipens. In South Korea, in Seoul, South Korea, cryptocurrency trading is an e-sport where competitors buy and sell derivative markets against each other in tournaments. The world is going into methods and levels that we really can't understand. Some people have just taken the concepts of new concepts and old concepts. And I think this is, if you look at the American financial system and the British financial system, after all, those are the two domains of finance. First, London, and then the other, New York. They don't seem to be so agile as to respond to the opportunities out there that digital technologies is giving. They are very non-responsive to crypto. America has not been very responsive to crypto. Even China too. China makes all the crypto machines, all the crypto mining machines, but China themselves are not so amenable to that particular technology. And another thing too that we should also point out that digital space is one that is America is lagging behind in its finance. Robinhood tried to digitalize finance and portfolio management and buying of shares. Robinhood had a big problem. There was a big pushback about them. But if you go to China, the adoption of digital technologies, Ant by Alibaba, Weibo, and how QR codes, and it's so much advanced there that you will just know that this is just what it's happening. What just popped up now? It says my session is over, but the session definitely is still on. I wonder what that means as we keep learning about this mechanism. Like I said, this is my first live stream, so I'll make some mistakes, but I'll keep getting better at it. So let's move on to the next story. What story is this now? Russia has let me be sure that we are still on. Yes, we're still on. If you're on, let me know by making some comments on the chat so that I will know that something America Guyana. Okay, that's from the south. Continue to make comments so that I will know that continue to make comments so that I'll know what's going on. So that I'll know that some people are on the chat. Russia has a Tsar bomber, 58 megaton of pure power, and the most powerful weapon ever detonated. Yes, we should remember one of the things that the Soviet Union did. The Soviet Union came late into the production of nuclear weapons. After all, it was in 1949 that Soviet Union got the blueprints for the atom bomb, and that's when they detonated it. But one thing that the Soviet Union did is that they became very good at it. They became so good at it because somehow nuclear deterrent became the very integral part of their philosophy, their existential philosophy. And the Soviet Union produced quite a lot of weapons, hydrogen bombs, and I think this bomb was one. I think it was an hydrogen bomb itself, and it was devastating. It just showed the kind of capacity. And I think it was realization of the power of bombs like this that made the world to know that nuclear weapons were an existential threat, and it may just have been the reason why they started talking about things like all those treaties to limit them. So let's go through it. It says Russia has a Tsar bomber, 58 megatons of pure power, the most powerful weapon ever detonated. When Russia speaks, the world listens. Yeah, now I have 13 people watching. Like I said, this is my first live stream. If you'll be helping the channel, if you I think if you like, it will keep generating more. It will send the live stream to more subscribers. Anyway, this is something here. Remarkable IR footage from the Ukrainian Patriot surface-to-air missile system successfully shooting down an incoming salvo of Russian Iskander ballistic missile. This is immense progress because for a long time now, the Ukrainians have been saying that they've been shooting down Iskander missiles. They've been shooting down Iskander missiles. Not many people believed them. The Iskander missiles ballistic missiles is very fast, very maneuverable because of the technology that the Russians are using now. But what has happened is that they seem to have perfected it. One of the things we should all remember is that Russia and Ukraine are proven grounds of modern technology. This is where modern technology is being tested. This is the most active and most advanced war on planet Earth in the new age and modern era. So over the course of time, they have been using getting data for both the Americans and the people who manufacture these weapons on both sides of the aisle, on the Ukrainian side and the Russian side. They've been improving and iterating their weapon systems. We know how the Geran 2 started as Shahid 136, and now Geran 2 is what? Geran 2 is not just Shahid 136, it is now one of the most formidable drone systems in the world. We already have Geran 2, Geran 3, Geran 5. And all that. So this is a picture now that shows that in the last attack, 2 Patriot missile interceptors actually brought down some Iskander missiles. And that's a great success on the part of the Ukrainians. Although President Zelensky said that most of it had already been expended and used. What's this? Netanyahu says, we were blamed in antiquity 500 years before the birth of Christ. People don't know about the Hellenistic anti-Semitism that was here in the diaspora. And then what happened in the Middle Ages, you are familiar with, and it happened in modern times.
When there was societal change, the Jews always were blamed. And we were blamed in antiquity, 500 years before the birth of Christ. People don't know about the Hellenistic anti-Semitism that was here in the diaspora. And then what happened in the Middle Ages, you are familiar with. And it happened in modern times. And these attacks on the Jews were always preceded by vilification, horrible vilifications, that even so-called civilized and educated people adhere to. The Jews poisoned the wells, the Jews spread vermin, the Jews slaughter Christian children to use their blood for baking matzahs. And this goes into modern times. The Nazis basically said the same thing.
Well, the truth is this, the Jews have actually been expelled from over 200, almost 190 to 200 societies and civilizations, expelled. And a lot is that over the course of time, especially in the Middle Ages, the Jews were blamed for the death of Jesus Christ. They had every single reason to blame them. But we should also understand one other thing too about the Jews and why they may have faced that. They've continued to be in just one particular industry. They've dominated that industry over millennia, and that's finance. Unfortunately, Christianity and Islam, 2 civilizations, 2 religions that came long. They had roots in Judaism. They are called the Judaic religions. Unfortunately for them, those 2 religions frown against usury. Usury is money lending, but the Jews feel very comfortable lending money, and they raise money, and they get to be very wealthy. And unfortunately, kings need to go to war, and kings raise money from the Jews to a large extent, and many times they don't want to pay. There are many reasons why anti-Semitism has existed over the course of several years, but indeed, what he is saying is true. Over 200 civilizations have chased the Jews away. Although, if you ask me, in these modern times, the big anti-Semitism that people are feeling all across the world now has a lot to do with some of the actions he may have initiated in Gaza. That's another story altogether. Writing Fu, good fortune in Chinese New Year tradition. This calligraphy finishes in one stroke, topped with various other best wishes. Chinese calligraphy, we should remember, is one of the mainstays of Chinese culture. And in fact, this is a cultural heritage. They call them unique cultural heritage. And the people who carry on these things like calligraphy, they learn it over a long time, sometimes 30 years, 40 years. I think intangible cultural heritage is what they call it. I forget, a good thing I remember. The word is intangible cultural heritage. Whoever is coming onto the stream and is watching, thank you very much for supporting the channel. Press the like button so that more people will come on top of it. Like I said, Ebima Mungo's perspective on global affairs, I have a project 5000, but with the live stream now, I want to be able to interact with people much more. I'll get better at it. This is my first live stream. I'll get better at it. So whatever inadequacies you notice now, please be forgiving about it. But also put your chats out there so that I will know that there are people out there and people are making statements about it. Give me feedback too, in case you have any feedback you want me to know regarding what's going on in the video now, because okay. So this is an intangible cultural heritage of the Chinese. They have quite a lot of them. They have so many things that only the Chinese are very skilled at, and it would probably have taken this man over 30 years to get to that kind of competence. Breaking. U.S. intercepted Chinese tanker Veronica III with a Panama flag in Indian Ocean en route from the Caribbean, Pentagon. China retaliation will arrive anytime. U.S., watch out. Yes, this ship was boarded by the Americans in the Indian Ocean about a few days ago, and the Pentagon actually, I keep forgetting that we shouldn't be saying the Pentagon anymore. We should be saying the Department of War. I think what this tanker was accused of was that there was an embargo on Venezuela, and they chose to break the embargo. They escaped from Venezuela. But as the Department of War states, is that they were stating that, well, you can't get away from it. The long reach of American justice will be able to grab you wherever you are. We should remember also that America has over 800 bases, 800 military bases. In the ocean, in the Indian Ocean, there is no base bigger than the one in Chagos Island. That one that is now causing a problem between Britain and the Americans, because that is the one that is, I think, something Garcia, very big base. And it is from there too, they refuel and send their ships to go bomb for bombing campaigns in the Middle East. So they have extensive assets, not to talk of Guam, not to talk of all their assets in Philippines and in all that region. So America has extensive reach. Yes. Munich Security Council, Czech Foreign Minister Peter McKinka triggered Hillary Clinton's Trump derangement syndrome. Clinton unhinged interruptions can't be stopped until McKinka calmly explains the truth. Makes her nervous, leaving them out. Let's listen.
Actions on Ukraine have produced a rift in the West.
Well, first, I think you really don't like him.
You know, that is absolutely true. But I really, not only do I not like him, I don't like him because of what he's doing to the United States and the world. And I think you should take a hard look at it if you think that there is something good that will come out of it.
Peter,
what I think Trump is doing in America, I think it is reaction for something for some policies that really went too far from the regular people, too far from reality. So, you know, we saw the cancel culture. We saw the woke revolution. I don't agree with the gender revolution, the climate alarmism.
Which gender? Women having their rights?
Let Peter go on.
I think there are two genders. So, but some of us think that there is more than one, or more than two gender. I think there is male and female, and the rest probably is a social construct. So this is something that went too far.
But does that justify selling out the people of Ukraine who are on the front lines dying to save their freedom and their two genders, if that's what you're worried about?
Well, it so turns out that indeed Trump's derangement syndrome was very much on display in this last Munich Security Council. In my last video yesterday, I actually extended it to become what did I call it? I called it Putin derangement syndrome. It's something that is just you can't explain it. It's just you can't explain what really is happening here now. It became what I call Putin derangement syndrome. It was quite a real problem to everybody there now. They kept talking and emphasizing the fact that this is something that Trump was the center, Putin was the center, Russia was the center, and the Czech Republic, we should know, is not too sold on to this war. They are not really happy about what's going on regarding the war and all that, and they made their point known. They made their point known about it. So this is how he was saying it. But of course, Hillary Clinton there was blaming Trump, blaming Putin in that event. It was actually very obvious for all to see. Well, what kind of share do I have here? I have a different kind of share than the one that I'm seeing on the live stream, but it's all good. We'll, like I said, we'll continue to learn how to manipulate this system as I go forward. What else again? The next story, this is an interesting one. There's a very interesting thing about America cooperation with Russia. This domain is one that has not been challenged by any means. Like I keep saying, this domain of space, the International Space Program, the International Space Station has been a place of cooperation between the Americans and the Russians.
Can I please finish?
And it is for that reason why recently there was this launch of an X spacecraft into outer space, and it was actually very interesting seeing this happen. It was very, very nice seeing that they had a good interaction. A Russian space astronaut, they call them cosmonauts, was also part of this event, and obviously SpaceX has really done well for the American space program. We should remember that Isaac Mann, the man that is heading the NASA now, is one of, he also went to space using SpaceX, Isaac Mann. And he actually said that he's going to go to Russia to go and visit and watch the launch of the Soyuz space program. They will be launching, and because this cooperation has endured all the changing tides of geopolitics. For 20 years, it was just the Russians who were providing spacecrafts to the Ukraine, to the Americans, because after the space shuttle program, they didn't have a means of going to the International Space Program, and then it is now this role has reversed because of Elon Musk's Space Dragon. So that cooperation is enduring. It endures from all the geopolitics that has been going on there. Iran, Aragachi is saying that. What is Aragachi saying? Let me be clear. Iran's missiles and defense systems are non-negotiable. Okay, let's listen.
İran'ın füzeleri, İran'ın savunma sistemi hiçbir zaman hiçbir müzakereye konu olmayacaktır. Aynı zamanda çok net ve kesin bir şekilde şunu da söylemeliyim. İran'ın füzeleri, İran'ın savunma sistemi.
Yes, but the Iranians have been very clear about it. They are saying that non-negotiable. We see, in fact, in that particular speech that Netanyahu was making, the main soundbite that come off of that speech was how he was listing all the things he wants Iran to do. He wants Iran to stop enrichment completely. He wants Iran to stop their ballistic missile program, limit it to only 300 kilometers. That will mean that, of course, it cannot threaten Israel. He also wants Iran to stop to support Hezbollah, what he calls the axis of evil, but what the Iranians call the axis of resistance. Hezbollah, the Houthis in Yemen, those also in Iraq. I think the Iranians have done a very good job of keeping their Israelis very engaged and busy over the past 30 years. It was only in this last year that there was a direct confrontation between the two of them. I will move on again now. Let's move on. China's AI-powered car inspection system scans over 1,000 functions in just 3 hours. Like we had already said, the Chinese have applied AI into so many daily events in life that sometimes we don't even know which is true and which is not true anymore. Yes, someone is asking if the live stream will just be for X. Well, I think I will use the X to start to understand the concepts of it. And over time, maybe with time, my other channel, the other product where I talk, as of now, it's just a monologue, but maybe it will get to be more engaging. But I'm comfortable with the X as a starting point to learn as I navigate all of this. But like we have said, this is AI. China is leading in the application of AI to daily products and daily life. This is even them using it for expression. We already know that the Chinese are using AI in their factories. They're using robots in their factories. They are leading in automation. And that is just where the world is going now. Let me have a hang of what the time is now. Okay. I think since it's a live stream, I might just be able to do a little bit more than what I used to do before. Glenn Deason, EU Foreign Policy Chief, Kaya Kallas, referring to Marvel Universe. This is so painful to watch. Kaya Kallas has Putin derangement syndrome. We all know that. She has Russia derangement syndrome. She is intent on doing harm to Russia. Nobody wants to talk to her, but let's hear her.
Europeans assemble, and let me take more inspiration from the Marvel universe. Heroes are made by the paths they choose, not the powers that they are graced with. Europe's path is clear: defend Europe, secure our neighborhood, and build partnerships across the globe. Thank you. To conclude, we hear the...
Well, she has a lot. She said a lot in that event there, but we'll move on. We'll move on from her. It's a violent scenes of protest in Israel as Israeli police and uniformed female soldiers fail to control them and run away. This is quite an interesting thing. There's an interesting conflict going on within the Israeli. There's a lot of protests going on within Israel that we don't see reported. But the biggest contradiction is that the Orthodox Jews, a very large amount of them, full of young men, they have found a way to exempt themselves, or they've been exempted for a long time from the military, from the IDF. And over the course of time, they now have a very, very formidable political party backing them. One of the Ben-Gvir, I think, is from that party. And over course of time too, they've been forced now. I think there've been changes within the constitution that now means that Orthodox Jews will now have to be taking part in the activities of the IDF. Not many of them like it, but there are so many demonstrations and political upheavals regarding the presidency or the prime ministership of Benjamin Netanyahu. Of course, we don't get to see it as reported as that in Iran because, of course, we know the agendas and the narrative and the interests of those who want us to see what we see. So this is actually what's going on now in many, many countries there now, especially in Israel. There's actually some political problems, huge demonstrations against Netanyahu, and it's an ongoing thing too. Let's go to the next story now, and that will have to do with a rally of Iranian monarchists in Toronto. There was a really big rally in support of Reza Pahlavi. When you see a clip like this, you will know that whoever posted it is being mysterious. There was actually a rally in support of Reza Pahlavi and the monarchists too. Of course, not everybody likes the regime in Tehran, but the regime in Tehran has been able to show that they also have their support. So millions of people supported them when they celebrated the 47th year anniversary of the revolution. It's a conflict that is now ongoing. We'll continue to see how it unfolds. Stanislav Krapanik. Yes, let me see some of the heard that phrase first from you. So spot on, Putin derangement syndrome. Yes, that's my video for yesterday. I should say that Stanislav is one of the most sought after analysts regarding this war. He's a Russian. He's a former, let me just put, what does he say here? He says former US Army officer, military geopolitical backup. And I think he also is in the supply chain. This is a video we've already watched, but this is the video about the boarding of the Chinese tanker. It says American military has seized another oil tanker. It is reported that the tanker was transporting Iranian oil. The ship Veronica 3 was stopped by special forces in the Indian Ocean. It is guided from the Caribbean Sea. There's a more comprehensive video about that attack, but there was one from the Department of War. It showed us a lot of, and of course, we saw Pete Hesget there, very, very proud of the achievements of his team. He's very proud about the achievements of his team. Let me see what do I have here first from South America, Guyana. Oh, interesting. I'm really touched and very happy at the reach of this channel as it's growing slowly. I get from Japan, I get from Guyana. I know the Caribbeans, I do have some people following from Caribbeans. And wherever you are, you're watching from, please let me know on the chat. Put it there and support the very first stream. I don't have a description for this particular Zoom meeting for now. It's my X review. I guess I'll put it up later on. Like I said, I'm walking through the mechanisms of how the live stream works. But wherever you're watching from, please put it onto the chat so that I will know. My regards to those that watching from American Guyana. I've seen that one. Let's see again. John Henkel. Yeah. Another superlative Chinese achievement. The Chinese have become the super juggernauts in construction. I think we tend to forget that engineering also has a civil part of engineering. If you attended university that has a scientific component to it, you will know that engineering department spans many domains: electronic, mechanical, civil. And the civil engineering part of it has become a domain that the Chinese have become masters in. People wonder why people say that the Chinese are now very innovative. Their innovation spans so many things. We see how they invented new ways of building bridges, new ways of expanding the high-speed rail network, and how quickly they can even build buildings, how they construct buildings. We hear very crazy things like a 50-story skyscraper being built in 2 weeks. And then almost all of the world's biggest bridges now. All of the world's tallest bridges, top 10 of all the world's tallest bridges, most longest span, any record you want to call, is the Chinese. The Chinese are masters now in civil engineering and construction by miles. Weapon. It's a United States arms. Weapons delivery by the US over decades. See if you spot a trend. Watch the flow to Turkey and Israel and contrast that to Europe. This is superb business and politician. Let us see this. It's interesting. We should remember that America is the one country taking care of a lot of the security of so many countries in the world. So many countries look to America for their security. Let me see this. Yes. And so many countries look to America for their security. Many, and of course, the favorite place that America has always sent to Europe, the Middle East, Saudi Arabia. I live in Saudi Arabia, and I see one of the things I love about Saudi Arabia is road trips. So you go to Kamis, you go to Najran, you go to every single part of Saudi Arabia, you see Patriot missiles. It's in Saudi Arabia, I actually saw Patriot missiles. They even have THAAD. They are big consumers of American hardware and military hardware. And Of course, Egypt and Israel. Egypt and Israel. Israel already has a military aid, 3 billion guaranteed almost every year. And then, of course, we see the Korea, South Korea, Japan. These countries depend because they have what they call it. They have the nuclear umbrella. And one other country, too, that is diversifying here now is Thailand. Thailand has always bought American goods, but they are getting closer to China now. Chinese weaponry is beginning to be sold around the world now. And it is the reason why Donald Trump went to. You can see how very extensively, how very big it goes into the Middle East. All the Middle Eastern and Gulf countries buy American arms wholesale. And if they make the relationship between the Middle Eastern Gulf countries get bad and they start to have Chinese options. Actually, in Saudi Arabia, I used to see the Wulong and the Wukong drones, those huge drones that the Chinese sell that are like the MQ Reapers. I used to see them in Bisha, in all those cities that I lived across Saudi Arabia. I'll just travel and I'll see them. They were there. So one of the things is that that's a big market for Boeing. That's a big market for the military industrial complex of America, and they're not going to lose it in a hurry. Anyway, we now have 23 people watching. Please, if you come onto the live stream, you can help by pressing the like button so that I think the algorithm loves it that way. So let's go on here now. You say it's literally cheaper to fly to China, stay in a 5-star hotel, get an MRI and fly back than it is to get a scan in the US with insurance.
Nurse in there as well, like doing all the record keeping and note taking, and you'll talk to them directly. You'll pay everything in there. It's very easy and straightforward. If they order you a blood test, this is the area you go to. So you'll scan on those machines over there. These folks here are the ones that take your blood. It's extremely fast and efficient. Probably takes 5 minutes to do a blood test, and you get the results on your phone.
Well, I think I should say two things. If you live in America, you will understand what it is to be, one, to get insurance for your healthcare. It is very imperative and very important that you have insurance for your healthcare. If you don't have it, you are in big trouble. Very big trouble. You'll be paying what they call out of pocket. Out of pocket is beyond belief in cost. You will pay for something like antibiotics, the kind of sums you will pay, you won't believe it in the first place. So everybody goes and needs the insurance. But as we have just seen, things are much more cheaper. That's why they say purchasing power parity in China. It's by far they're the richest country in the world regarding purchasing power parity. What this guy here is saying is something too that is now benefiting the world. The Chinese have actually opened up their market. They have opened up their country. At the last count, 75 countries have been given visa-free entry, the last being Britain and Canada. I think they've now been approved. And this has now made a lot of people to be seeing the reality of China, the cities. And of course, now, because if you stay in China and you get ill, you will now see their healthcare system. And you start to compare this to your country. And this is what is beginning to happen now. The purchasing power parity means that things are very cheap in China, and then the fact that the Chinese have made their country visa-free to 75 countries. We now see a lot of images on YouTube, on TikTok, on everywhere. People are talking about their experience in their visit to China. Gerasimov, if you're a watcher of this program, you know of the Russian war.
Которые не в состоянии восполнить и в условиях снижения укомплектованности боевых батальонов основную ставку делают на формирование.
If you're just joining, welcome to the live stream. It's my first live stream. It's I'm testing it out for the X review of Ibima Mungo's perspective on global affairs. It's interesting to have you on. I'll continue to do this. Let me know wherever you're calling from, wherever you're doing. I have Olunrowa 51, Lagos, Nigeria, South Africa, UK. Interesting. Just my first live stream already, and I'm having people from all over the world. I'm touched, and I'm very happy for your support. We are going to grow this channel together. Now, this is what Gerasimov is saying. Let's listen to him.
Продолжается освобождение населенных пунктов Новый Донбасс и Белецкая. В Гришино наши штурмовые подразделения в уличных боях уничтожают формирование противника, удерживающих позиции в этом населенном пункте. Кроме того, подразделения группировки «Центр» ведут боевые действия по овладению Новопавловкой и Новоподгорным.
Oh, he's naming the 12 settlements that they've overcome. The Russians have a very slow and methodical means of achieving their outcomes in this war. They lose territory. One of the great attributes of the Russians is that they are very quick to withdraw. Once they see that the battle is not going the way they want it, they withdraw and they run away. And whenever they withdraw, it now makes it look like, for those people who watch channels like Military Summary Channel and all those other channels that map the war on a daily basis, we will get to see how sometimes the Russians leave some spaces to the Ukrainians and go and reorganize. They are not very much in that business of fighting and contesting every single territory. And then they go and regroup and ultimately they win back these territories. But Gerasimov there has become how we get to know. Krasny Liman we hear a lot about, and Konstantinovka too, they're making successes there. Yesterday in my channel, I showed the advances by the Russians in Sloviansk area after they moved off of they're now moving to the west and moving into Sloviansk. Of course, they will be getting close to Kramatorsk. And these are the last remaining settlements in the Donbas. These are the sticky issues in this negotiation with the Ukrainians. And as the objects of the special military operation is now is that Putin has said that without negotiation or with negotiation, they are going to achieve that outcome that they want, and that's that they are going to take the remaining part of the Donbas from the Ukrainians, whether by negotiation or by military means. New Russian Molinia FBP drones are now being equipped with 3D printed anti-personnel. There's nothing we won't see in this war.
Использовать с противопехотными минами или с шипами. СВУ «Пряник» маленькие, 40-граммовые, вместимость 24 штуки. Шипов можно поместить порядка 50-60 штук. В общем, вес 3 килограмма можно обе по 3 положить.
One of the things I've enjoyed about manufacturing in America is I got to learn about the different types of construction, additive manufacturing and subtractive manufacturing. When you work with CNC machines and you work in places that produce goods and products, you'll come to see that 3D printing is now very much a part of modernity. And if you have components like plastic components, they even 3D print parts using aluminum parts, steel parts. It just depends on if you can have the base products to put into it. So 3D printing makes a lot of sense, and this is what is really saving the Ukrainians now. They are 3D printing a lot of their components within Ukraine. They are in apartment blocks. Sometimes when you see the bombing of some apartment blocks by Guarantee drones, you will be wondering why, but maybe the Russians have identified that there's itinerant 3D printing and manufacture of drones in there. So 3D printing is very much a part of the world now. It is. I live in Austin, Texas, and one of the things about 3D printing is that there's an estate not too far from us here called, I think, Wolf Ranch or so, and they build 3D printed homes there. So 3D printing is now really much a part of manufacturing, and now we're seeing that it is being used in building mines. Innovation is one of the outcomes of wars, as we always know. What's this person saying here now? How many minutes have I been on this thing now? It says, please, if you come onto this thing, just let the world know, press your like button and expand the reach of the video. It's my first live stream, and I thank everybody who has come onto it. Scenes from Tehran, Iran right now. What is supposed to be happening in Tehran? Yeah, I guess what is happening is that they have neighborhoods in Tehran that don't like the Ayatollah. And every night, I don't know, these days, recently, I've been seeing quite a lot of them on my feed here. they tend to make this big noise about they don't like the Ayatollah. So it seems like it's from one of such neighborhoods that this may be coming off of. So it's not as if the Ayatollah is popular everywhere, but we see that they have been able to rally a lot of support among themselves. The stream has been going on now for a while. I think, let me see, what's the time? What time have I been going on with now? Let me see. It's 50 minutes. Okay, so we'll just have about 5 minutes. I'll keep this at 1 hour and let's see how it goes. China has helped complete Africa's first heavy haul railway in Algeria.
50 degrees Celsius and severe sandstorms. Over 8,000 Chinese and foreign construction workers complete the railway section in just 24 months, setting multiple firsts in Africa. The railway was built using Chinese technology while integrating global standards, training large numbers of local skilled professionals. The opening of the railway will greatly drive local economic development.
Well, there are two things I'll say about this. If you live in Africa there, you will know. Like I'm a Nigerian and I know the role of the Chinese in building railways in Abuja, Kaduna, and then even the national line. The national line had been abandoned for several years, and now the Chinese are helping to rehabilitate. The Chinese have built railways in Ethiopia, very important because they use it in connecting to Djibouti. And then they also have the standard gauge railway in Kenya, very important. I was in Mombasa once, and although I didn't use that train because I flew to Mombasa, but I know how very impactful it had been to the Kenyans. They talked a lot about it. There are railway projects even going on all across. Zambia now is trying to they have a Chinese railway system that connects them to Tanzania, I think to the Indian Ocean coast Chinese too. The Chinese are building, apart from this railway, they're building ports, and the railway is the mainstay. One of the things you will want to know is how did they get the competence in building train systems in the desert? Well, it turns out that the Chinese have a very extensive desert neighborhood called, they have a lot of deserts. They have about 3 deserts in China, huge deserts. Taklalama Desert, the Gobi Desert, the Kunming Desert. In fact, I'll have to look through them, but they have an extensive desert area. And because they're connecting to Xinjiang, they've developed these technologies. There is nothing the Sahara will throw at them that they will not find a way to overcome. They have built serious capacity, and not just rails. They have built capacity for high-speed rails on these desert territories. In some places, though, they even had to hold off the desert by creating ramps and abilities to be able to have stop desertification. These are the abilities they are now exporting. Of course, in Saudi Arabia, of course, they were also involved in a line, I think, to Medina. So they are now exporting their railway know-how and technology to all over the world, including Indonesia, where they even just opened the high-speed rail called the Bush, the Bandung to Jakarta line. Anyway, let's move to the next story. We've already seen this one from the Iranians. Let me see. How many stories will I have here now? Let me just do this one. This is AMK. AMK mapping is I think it's from New Zealand, and he really does have a lot of information. It's one of the very best in the mapping business. It tends to have access to information that baffles even some of us who watch these things, especially whenever there's going to be a bombing and the outcomes of those bombing. AMK mapping seems to know. He has access to the movements of the TU-160. He knows when the TU-160 knows when all the bases and in Pokrovsk direction, Ukraine forces continued their offensive operations and have made additional significant progress in recent days. After penetrating the main Russian defense southeast of Olesivka, Ukraine forces have begun attempting to secure the right flank of their main attack vector, where Russia didn't hold a significant troop presence. So which part of it is in Pokrovsk? So this is quite interesting. It simply means that there's still some battle going on in the Pokrovsk area. Of course, the Ukrainians are unrelenting. they've lost a lot of almost all the territories of Pokrovsk completely, but that means that doesn't mean that they have stopped it, because they have to keep attacking the Russians and containing them. But we know they lost Pokrovsk and they lost Leningrad. But what he is saying here now is that they are still making attempts to want to be able to retrieve Pokrovsk back from the Russians. Anyway, the live stream will soon be coming to an end. In my first live stream, I'm approaching how many minutes now? 59 minutes. I just want to keep this at 1 hour. I'm very happy. Who is this? It says Lagos. Hello, Ebimo. Oh yeah. Thank you for being on board. I know this. Agos is 59. We chat a lot. You make a lot of comments. For all of you who have joined this live stream, I'm very grateful. I'm very happy. Yeah, like you all know, this geopolitics thing is something I like. I've always loved it. And when you do a channel like this, you tend to hold different positions from different people. That's a good thing about the world now. A channel like mine try to put the different points that some people don't get to see, because we know what the legacy media has done. We know how they shape the narrative. But there are a lot of people on YouTube. There are a lot of people who give various sides of the story and who have their own understanding of geopolitics. I think we can end here now with let's end with these two stories, and they have to do with Iran.
Of the United States in terms of involving Congress in any decisions. But right now, we're not talking about any of that. We are postured in the region for one simple reason, and that is that we understand that there could be threats to our forces in the region. We've seen them be threatened in the past, and we want to make sure that we have sufficient capacity to defend them if, God forbid, that were to happen. We'll follow whatever the law is on it, and it depends on the circumstance that lead to it. But right now,
so we are dealing with radical Shia clerics who make geopolitical decisions based purely on theology. Nobody has done a successful deal with Iran.
We're talking about negotiations. We are focused on negotiations. That's what we're focused. The president's made that clear. If that changes,
well, the truth is this: it's not being is telling half of the truth. One of the things we know for sure is that Obama did make a deal. Obama made a deal with the Iranians, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA. Donald Trump, at the behest of Netanyahu and Mariam Alderson and Sheldon Alderson, it was one of the first things he did. He went out of the JCPOA. They made a deal. They kept their own side of the deal. And for a long time, the Iranians did make a deal, but unfortunately, Donald Trump moved out of that deal and plunged the Iranians into crisis. He kept sanctions on them because the reason they want that deal is that they want sanctions lifted. They've suffered 40 years, if not 44 years, of being under sanction by America. And that has affected their ability to trade with every other person in the world. Iran has the 4th largest, or if not the 3rd largest, reserves of oil. And despite the fact that they have been suffering all these years, they still want the sanctions relief. We should also know that a lot of their assets was also frozen, like that of the Russians. They still have assets that have been frozen. They want those assets unfrozen. So Marco Rubio was not telling, he was just telling half of the truth there when he said that you can't make a deal with those Shia critics. They had a deal, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. They made that deal with Obama. They kept that deal. They allowed inspection by the IA, the International Atomic Energy Agency. They kept their own side of the deal. The Russians saw that they kept their own side of the deal. The Chinese saw that they kept their own side of the deal. What came out of their doing a deal was that all the data and their scientists and their locations were given to the Israelis and the Americans, and they used it in attacking them. Anyway, this is where I'll end the video for today. It's my first live stream. If you have been part of it, I'm very grateful to you. Welcome you to this particular program, and this will be continuous over time. I will learn the hang of it, and I'll learn to master it. And thank you for being a part of my first live stream. You have a good day. Like